Thank you so much for inviting me into your home today. My name is Bobby Richard, and I'm running for Lafayette City Parish Council, District 7. And I want to say thank you to AOC, thank you for the League of Women Voters for creating this opportunity that you might get to know your candidate. Well, the best way to get to know me is to really answer the very important questions. And I got a letter from a gentleman by the name of Mr. Howe. And Mr. Howe asked me some very stingy questions, and he was straight to the point. And let me give you an example of what was really, really important to Mr. Howe. Mr. Howe asked me a series of 9 questions. The last question was this. He said, so Bobby, are you growing a beard because you support ISIS terrorists, or are you trying to imitate male fashion models? So I think it's an important question. Yes, he did ask that question. So let me answer that question. I told Mr. Howe, I said, no, Mr. Howe, I do not support ISIS terrorists, and as a United States Marine, I've been trained to hunt them down, all right? That's the truth about that question. Now, if you're asking about the beard, quite frankly, it's because my wife finds it attractive, and we've been boyfriend and girlfriend since we're 13 years old, and we've been married for 28 years, and I've learned the secret of a successful marriage. If your wife thinks facial hair is attractive, you grow facial hair. You know what I mean? So anyways, just I had to get the important stuff out on the table, right? I want to address what I think is important today. I want to tell you 3 things today. Number 1, I want to tell you what you want to hear, and then I'm going to tell you what you need to hear, and then I'm going to tell you what you have to hear. So 3 things I want to talk to you about, because my hope is that you're going to make an informed vote. My hope is that you're not going to push that button in that voter booth for me because you say, well, I know that guy, or my uncle knows him, or maybe I've went to his church, he married my daughter, or somebody in the family. I want you to vote for me because you believe not only in me as a person, but you believe in my value system, and you believe in the vision that I want to be able to cast in the next 12 minutes or so, right? So let me begin by telling you what you want to hear. What you want to hear is this. We live in one of the best places to work and raise a family. That's right. Lafayette and Broussard is one of the best places to work and to raise a family. And as much as we all want to see our public school system improve, right, because I really, really want that, just let me say this. This is not the end of the world. All 5 of my children have attended public school right here in Lafayette Parish, and the truth is, they didn't fail my family, and they didn't fail my children. They turned out pretty well, and so they're in grad school, and they're working, they're professionals, and so I'm very grateful to the public school system, right? But so I believe we live in one of the best places in the whole world to work and to raise a family. Now listen, I believe this is one of the best places on earth to live, not because we have the best roads. And I'm sure right now you're saying, I totally agree, Bob, because everybody knows that, right? And I would also say that I believe that we live in one of the best places, not because we have the most attractive gateways into our city. And of course, again, many of you would agree with that. But I believe that we have one of the best places on earth to live and to raise a family because of the people here, right? And again, I wouldn't say we're the best looking. We don't have to be the best looking, except for my wife. I think she's the best looking. But I believe that the people are great because of our rich heritage that's been embedded by our value system that's steeped with the love for faith and family, right? Now this is what you want to hear. We live in what I believe to be, and really the country would agree, to be one of the best places to work and to raise a family. Listen, all the U.S., they know this, and they're attracted to Lafayette and Broussard. They're moving here in the droves, right? Why? Because they see its potential. You want to hear that. I want to hear that. That's good news, right? Now, let me tell you what you need to hear today. Lafayette is projected to grow by another 60 to 90,000 people in just the next 15 to 20 years. That's a lot of people. And because of that, I believe the greatest thing that we can do to stimulate economic growth is that we must make the roads, improving our roads, right? Not just another priority. I believe that we got to make it the priority, the number one priority. You know, when I was growing up, my mom used to tell me this all the time. I was brought up in a single parent home. My dad passed away when I was real young. My mom's no more than 4'11", and by the time I was 13, I was already taller than her. And I remember her just pointing her finger in my face, and a little Cajun lady, she would say, "Bobby, I'm telling you right now, you better not get too big for your britches, no." And she'd say that all the time. Well, listen, I can hear Mama talking to Lafayette right now. I can hear Mama say, listen, we might want to make sure that we don't get too big for our bridges, our roadways, right? If we're going to grow in a healthy way, we have to have the infrastructure that's going to maintain and sustain that growth, right? So roads must become the priority. The second thing that you need to hear is this: why I believe Lafayette City Parish is a very business-friendly place. I can't totally agree that it's real consumer-friendly. I believe that there's a gross inequity in this, right? Just 11 years ago, the annual LCG budget was roughly around $430 million a year. Did you know just last year's budget was $604 million a year? And I'm baffled by this question. And I can't tell you that I've found all the answers, although I've been searching and researching and asking. And I'm going to give you an idea, maybe where I believe the money is gone. But I'm baffled by how a community can generate more tax revenue than it ever has over the last decade, yet still come to the consumer, to the taxpayer, me and you, and say, we don't have enough money to dig, to take care of drainage, and to address the traffic and the roadways. I'm baffled by that. I mean, there's a $170 million increase in tax revenue, but we're saying we don't have enough money to take care of what I believe should be the priority in our parish, right? And you would say, well, Bobby, listen, so what do you do about it? Look, here's my approach. When I started looking at the budget, I was looking for the elephant on the ship, right? In other words, if the ship's going down, you don't go look for the little mice and start throwing the little mice off the ship. You go find the elephant. I mean, what's the big elephant in the budget that's draining all of the tax dollars, right? So, I don't know if you know this or not, but the budget is a 469-page document. It's pretty large. And so I haven't done this by myself. There's people a lot brighter than me, and we've been combing through this. I've been talking to people and asking. And let me tell you what I found. What I found is there's no smoking gun. There's no big elephant, but there's a lot of rats on the ship, right? There's a lot of stuff that's eating the money. And you would say, well, Bobby, so where's all the money gone? I would say 4 places. This is what I found. Number one, the money's going due to a growing demand on infrastructure. I mean, we are growing rapidly. So in all the unincorporated areas, there's just pressure on the infrastructure. So we have to build and we have to provide infrastructure there. It's just putting pressure on that infrastructure there, right? So there's a growing demand. When the community grows, so does the demand on the government grow. Does that make sense, right? Number 2, I would say this. I found that the money's gone toward inflation and government inefficiency. What do I mean by that? Well, I'm talking about we might bid out a project and we say we allocate money for it, and that might be 10, 15 years ago. But then it takes 15 years before the project gets started. That's government inefficiency. So what happens is inflation over the last 10, 15 years has quadrupled the price of the bid of the project. And so now it just takes more money to finish the project. So I call it inflation and inefficiency. We need to be more efficient. We bid the job and get it started. Number 3, I would attribute it to legacy, meaning government employee pension or its retirement system. And if we don't address this in the near future, I can all but guarantee you that it will bankrupt our parish government, our city parish government. We've got to address that. And it's going to take a lot of courage. I think we can be fair to everyone. We don't change anybody's retirement plan that's already in the system. We safeguard that. We grandfather that in, but we need to take steps to deal with the pension. And I would say lastly, number 4 is LUS. I'm talking about the public utility system, right? I'm talking about, and the prices on the budget, we see that LUS has had to spend a lot of money on the increased price of coal or of energy, right? And even transporting that stuff. So you would say, Bobby, what do you believe we need to do? Well, I believe we need to, number 1, deal with the government inefficiency. Bid the job, get the project started, right? Number 2, I think we need to deal with the overpricing of government contracts. And like don't let this thing get super elevated. You just say, no. You come back with a reasonable bid, and then I'll award somebody the contract, right? And even if we have to go outside the local community. But the bottom line is, let's deal with government overpricing of contracts, right? Number 3, I would say this, prioritize the budget. Make the roads the priority. And I would say this, number 4, the big idea. Maybe we should put a blue ribbon commission together and consider building our own natural gas powered plants right here, fueled on our own resources right here in the state of Louisiana that would take care of us, right? And then 5thly, I would say this, instead of the incrementally increasing taxes, then if we need to fix the inequity of the tax structure by consolidation, by its charter, then let's address that. But I believe that we can address this thing. Here's what you have to hear today. Here's what you have to hear. What you have to hear is I believe that articulating and promoting a clear vision for Lafayette is essential, right? And I also believe that seeing that vision come to pass requires leadership and commitment. So here is my commitment to you. I pledge to you today to work with you and community leaders and the rest of our elected officials in order to continue to identify our community's priorities and to promote its full potential for economic development and quality of life, and hear me, healthy, sustainable growth. Secondly, I pledge to make myself available to you and to carefully weigh out any strategic plans that will enhance the value of our community without compromising, hear me, our values or our heritage. Number 3, I say this, I pledge to cultivate healthy, meaningful relationships with you and to respect you and to value your contributions, the contributions you make to our community. And number 4, let me say this, I pledge to conduct myself in the highest degree of integrity and transparency, to take steps to ensure that all of my interactions are legal, ethical, and immoral. I thank you today for taking the time to spend with me today and let me talk to you. I encourage you. If you have any questions for me, why don't you just email me? All you got to do is go to our website, josephbobbyrichard.com. You can email me from that website. You can follow me on Facebook and you can message me there. But I encourage you today, reach out to me as I've reached out to you, because I believe that together we can continue to make Lafayette, Louisiana, and Broussard, Lafayette City Parish, the best place to live on God's green earth.